All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started here. So, hello, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for coming to our workshop. So FTC Awards Team Basics and Outreach is what we'll be covering today, and obviously it's hosted by us, the Bionic Tigers 10464. So just a little bit about us. We're an 11th year team. We have 11 members. I'm Malia. I'm the team lead currently.
I'm Grant. I'm the current build lead.
I'm Alex. I'm the current programming lead.
Yep. And yeah. So these workshops we've made them. We're an 11th year team. We've been around for a bit. We've learned a lot of stuff in our time as a team. So we want to give you guys those learnings. Just things that we wish we knew when we were just starting out as a team. Give you a jump start so you can spend more time building robots and winning awards, and you just give some little tricks and tips from our experience. Like I said, today we'll be covering awards, team basics, and outreach, but we do also have two other upcoming workshops. On July 23rd, we're going to be covering manufacturing custom FTC parts, and on August 6th, we're going to be covering FTC programming in Kotlin. So if you're interested in any of those, make sure you can go ahead and sign up. And then also, if any of you guys have any questions during when I'm talking, you can go ahead and just send those out in the chat, and we have some question breaks built in, so you can ask questions there, or we can go ahead and also answer those questions in during those question breaks. And let's go ahead and get started. So, what are we going to cover today? So we'll be covering team organization and identity, what an in-person competition is going to look like for you, the engineering portfolio. We'll be going over all of the awards and their criteria, general outreach, community outreach, professional outreach, first outreach, and then sponsorship. So the first ethos. So obviously this is kind of like, if you're part of first, this is like the biggest thing you should know. So gracious professionalism. The concept that first is a community before competition. We are working with each other against the game instead of working against each other. We are competing against each other, but we're always going to be very friendly and kind when we do that. We want to improve ourselves as a whole and not bring each other down. Super important. Yeah, cooperation. We're cooperating and competing, working together against the game, like I said. And then all of first is based around this ethos. Everything that we do is kind of meant to revolve around that. And it really makes first unique, sets it apart from some other robotics competition, and just creates a great culture to be in. And it is also required for all awards. So when you're at competitions, you want to be demonstrating gracious professionalism and cooperation as much as possible. And then game documents. So every year when the game rolls around in September, so game documents will be released, and those documents will help kind of guide you to build your robot, understand the game. So in the past years, game manuals have been used. There were two parts, and then they were just general rules in one part, and then game-specific rules in the other. But they've recently introduced a competition manual, and we don't know whether it's likely that they'll be using the competition manual this year. It's going to be one big document with general and game-specific rules combined, and it's also going to be updated very often. So you'll have those general rules before the new game releases, but then they'll add the game-specific rules after. So then let's talk about team organization identity a bit. So team structure. So I'm Aaliyah, I'm the team lead, like I said. So we have the big team lead who's kind of just overseeing everything. Then we also have our sub-team leads. So we have Grant, our build lead, and then Alex, our programming lead. And then we also, just to note, we do not have a business sub-team, but everyone is responsible for business on our team. Everyone's responsible for attending outreach, writing it up, helping get sponsorships, and do all that. Some teams may have a separate sub team for that, but that's just the way we do it. And then we also have sub team members who can kind of talk to their sub team lead if they need help for anything. And then they can also, if you have any questions, raise your hand or put it in the chat. And yeah, the sub team leads can also come to the team lead if they need any questions. And we try to create this structure near the beginning of the season so that we just kind of, before everything starts, we're all organized, we're ready to go. We can just get straight into building and programming, all that stuff. And also, everyone has their own unique skills and talents, so we don't build people strictly to build or programming people strictly to programming. So everyone, we encourage like a cross sub-team training so that everyone can contribute as much as possible. And then team management. So we use something called Scrum. It's a project-based management tool. We do at the start of every meeting, we'll do a 15-minute stand-up meeting. We'll go through these cards as you can see on the next slide. I'll just show them right here. So those on the right, those little cards right there, and it's like things that we need to do. And we'll go through and we'll see, okay, we can assign people to it and we can be like, hey, how are you doing on this? Any roadblocks? What do you need help with? And that way we can kind of just get everyone oriented at the start of the meeting so that they know what they're doing for the meeting and they can get help if they need it. So we currently use Notion, but Trello, since you guys are all likely beginner teams, that's going to be awesome for you. It's free. It's very simple to use, and it's got a lot of customizable options to kind of change the format of what it looks like. Unfortunately, with the free version, there are kind of minimal uses for it. It's not as advanced, but what we use is Notion. So we get that as a sponsorship, actually. They sponsor us and provide us this software. It's got a very wide range of abilities. You can do a lot of stuff with it. It's very adaptable, but it is complicated to kind of get set up in the first place. And if you sign up for a free account, which there is, it does have limited storage. So if you get a lot of tasks on there, it might kind of start to run out of space. And then team branding. So we're the Bionic Tigers, and we like to kind of keep that as like a brand. So we've got our logo, that little Bionic Tiger you can see up there. We've got the font that we use, it's audio wide. Roboto is like our other font. And then FF660, safety orange. Every team member can recite this hex code off. And that just kind of makes us recognizable, creates a consistent brand, all that fun stuff. And then team spirit. We want to be recognizable, so you can see we all have a very kind of specific uniform. We're all wearing jeans, our team shirt, and then we all got our orange bandanas on. And then our drive team, if you can see, they have suspenders on. So we snap our suspenders at the start of every match, and that kind of just helps us stand out and kind of be recognizable, which is pretty important. Pit displays in robot are also ways we can get like custom 3D printed parts on your robot in your color, or have colored pit boards, all that, and just how you conduct yourself. You want to be, as I mentioned before, graciously professional, and then be active within your community and within the FTC community and be engaged. That's kind of what contributes to you being recognized as a team. And yeah. And questions. So I noticed that we did have a couple questions. Oh
Yep.
yeah. So what ages and grades on your team are on your team? So I'm currently a senior, Alex is a senior, and then we have two other seniors on the team. And then we have one junior, that's Grant. How many sophomores? We have JT and Lucas are our sophomores.
Just tell.
And anyway, two sophomores, and then the rest are
Freshmen.
freshmen. So yeah.
So in age group, you guys range from what, 14 to 18 or 14 to 17?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we got high school. I know that some FT. Oops, sorry. Go ahead.
Was since when the team started, we're an 11th-year team, so I believe that put us in about 2014. Yeah, that's when we started.
15. Yeah.
15.
So we've been around for quite a bit. Yeah. Yeah. With that, do you want to go ahead? Anyone else have any other questions before we move on? You can go ahead and unmute and talk, or you can send it in the chat if you'd like. All right. Doesn't look like we have too many questions right now, so I'll go ahead and move on to the next section. So your first in-person competition. Oh, really quickly, do you want to grab this one right here? Is Scrum our main channel of communication? So Scrum is kind of a way that we organize tasks that we do as a team. For communication between team members, we use something called Discord, and that's kind of just, it allows us to create different roles for people. We can have rookies like on a separate role, team members, mentors, and we're able to just kind of, it's a very nice way of organizing things. It's a lot more detailed than just like iMessages or GroupMe or something like that. I don't know if that's what you're asking, but yeah.
You have another question before that one too? How many people in coding?
Oh yeah, so Alex and Aaron are our co-programming leads, and then we have one rookie this year. So three at the moment. Not a lot, but small but mighty team.
Okay, so let's talk about your first in-person competition. So there are a few different types of competitions. Scrimmages are for practice. They don't really allow you to advance to any next level of competition. There's no official awards. League meets are hosted in some regions, and they can allow you to advance to a regional tournament through a series of meets. And qualifying tournaments allow you to advance depending on which awards you win and how you place in finals. The amount of teams that advance is based on how many slots your region has. And there's also the regional tournament, which are hosted like qualifying tournaments and are the only type of competition that allow you to advance to Worlds. And then Worlds is the final type of competition. It's what everybody wants to go to. And then new this year, there's also premier events, which you can receive invites and can go to one of those. They're structured like normal qualifying tournaments. So to prepare for a competition, you're gonna want to start preparing your judging script. Um, you should look over your portfolio, make sure it's up to date, plan your pit area out, which we'll cover later, and create a packing list with extra items that could break. About a week before the competition, you should focus on practicing judging and driving. You should also prepare everything you are going to need, such as your portfolio, pit displays, and the packing list that you created earlier. You should always bring extras, and being prepared really makes a difference in competitions. So a rough outline for a qualifier goes like this. The first thing you do is check in. Then you can set up your pits, go through robot inspection, and practice anything or change anything that you need to. There's also going to be some time before judging in the drivers' meeting, so you should use that to your full advantage. After the drivers' meeting, there's an opening ceremony where the teams in the first few matches are queued and ready to play. Qualification matches are going to be the longest part. This is where teams compete for a spot at elimination matches. Elimination matches are different from qualification matches, where there are only four alliances, or I think this year there can be more depending on how many teams are at the qualifier. And each alliance has a captain who can select one to two other teams. I think it's just one now for the alliance. Elimination matches are a best of three system where each team plays 2 to 3 games to attempt to move on to finals. And after that is the closing ceremony where the judges hand out awards. And finally, after the end of a long day, you can pack up and go home. So there's some competition etiquette that you should always follow during a competition and even outside of it. Gracious professionalism is a way that you should act and is held very highly in any first program. It means to respect others and help them in any way you can. It is also important to uphold gracious professionalism because judges look for teams who excel in it, and it builds respect for your team and keeps you included in all awards. Make sure to give help wherever you can and don't be afraid to ask. And now, if you have any questions, you can send them in the chat or unmute your mic and ask them.
Yeah, it looks like we had it.
You go ahead, Leah.
So starting at the top, we had we will be covering how we put our portfolio together. We will not be providing like a big PDF file of like our entire portfolio, but we will show a few pages so you can kind of get an idea of what that looks like. And sponsorship, we do have plenty of sponsors. We'll be going over later in the presentation, we'll be going over how we get sponsors and kind of what does that look like for us. And then it looks like Yasmin had a question. If you'd like to type that in the chat or unmute and ask that. Actually, for the person who was interested in having a portfolio shared, we can share one of our ones from previous years if that'd be something you'd be interested in. We can send out an email after this. And then Yasmin sorry,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. What type of questions do judges ask? So judges really ask a wide variety of questions. There's two parts of judging. There's judging like when you're in the room, and then you give them your presentation, they ask you questions, and there's also pit judging. So judges are given your portfolio before, so kind of get an idea of what your team does and all that. And then they ask all sorts of questions. It's kind of hard to predict what they'll ask. Yeah. One of our mentors just said they have like a kind of question bank for practice interviews, but I would just say, yeah, it's you just if you know your robot, you've been involved in the team, you should if just practicing how you kind of format questions is the most important part. It's not like how you answer them. Like if you get what I mean. Sorry, that was a little convoluted, but
And
yeah.
then also in
It
addition to that, each judge is like basically focused on one topic. So there's a whole bunch of awards that we're going to go through. Each judge mostly focusing on one of those awards, especially the ones through the pits. They're going to basically specialize in that one award, and they're going to ask you questions about that.
Yeah. And then how many points have we gotten, or what's the highest score we got? So I know Alex, what?
I think it was
Uh,
354.
yeah, I think Malia,
355.
that's kind of I think that was intended to be, are those the types of questions you get asked?
Yeah. Oh, is that the type of question you get asked? No. So, judges usually for awards, they're not, unless it's the Inspire Award, they're not going to be looking at your robot performance as like criteria to be considered for an award. So yeah.
For that, they're going to judge off your questions in the portfolio.
Yeah. And then Edwin, would you mind elaborating on that question a bit? Are you looking at different teams' points or individual team cycle time?
I
Is
was
are
just
you
trying to specify what Ali was talking about.
Oh, okay.
And then how do we distribute different tasks? Like we said, we start with well, the main way we keep people on task is with Notion, but the way we distribute it is like we said, we have the different sub teams. So we have our team lead. They are going to have this big list of what they need to do. They're going to make that. From that, they're going to sit down with the team. They're going to have a talk. They're going to after that talk, they're going to decide on who's doing what, who would be better suited for what, or who just wants to do some part. And it's just basically off of what we like to do as preference or what we think would work best.
Yeah.
Malia, did you have any screenshots of what Notion looks like as maybe a
Yeah,
quick example?
yeah, I did. Hold on, I
And
can
if
do that.
you have that, cool. Okay, you've got it there.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Notion's the one on the right there. So you can see we've got the little different cards, build, programming, business. Yeah. And ours, this is from a bit ago, as you can see. So ours is structured a little bit differently, but the idea remains the same. Assign different tasks to different people or sub teams. And then you can kind of, at the start of every meeting, we just kind of go through all these cards and just see how everybody's doing on them.
I will add on to what Grant said about distributing tasks of, we kind of will try to pair more experienced people with rookies at the start as well to kind of help with training and kind of depending on how much training we've been able to do over the summer, that kind of determines that. But trying to match skills, but give people opportunity to build skills and learn as well as get things done, obviously.
Yeah. Any more questions from everybody? Or are we good to go ahead and keep going? All right. Next section, which is our engineering portfolio.
So yeah, engineering portfolio. This is what the judges are going to see first. This is going to be their first introduction of your team for that competition. There we go. So it's basically just a summary of what your team has done for the whole season, and it's a quick view so the judges can get a background knowledge of, like I said, everything you've done for the season. you need it. You can have a maximum of 15 pages in the cover page. That's just standardized. I don't think that ever changes through year to year. I'm pretty sure it remains the same. And then we have our breakdown down there of how we like to distribute up. Obviously, that will change every year because sometimes you have more mechanisms or you have more code that you want to show off. But on average, or at least this was ours for last year, we had our cover page, the overview of our team, the engineering section, the programming section, and the outreach section at the end. So you want to try to compact as much information as possible in here. Like I said, this is their first look at it. So you want to make sure they can get all the list of everything that your team has done to perfect the best image of yourself. And then the next one says think of a one pager first. So it gives you like a main idea of each slide should be a main idea, should have a new information on it, because otherwise you might just be wasting space. And then obviously you want even distribution. So the judges don't think that you're a build team heavy focus or you're a programming team heavy focus, that you're all well rounded. And so that way you have the best chance for winning the Inspire Award. And then next up, we just got some example slides. The one on our left is for our one of our build slides that shows the mechanism. We have testing data, we have description, and at the very bottom we have a brief description of all the changes we've gone through, everything about that. As you can see, we have photos that provides judges a visual representation of what we've done. And then on the right, we also have one of our outreach slides at the end that shows how many people we've reached, and also, yeah, just how many people we've reached in the events we've done. And then last part before we have a question break, this is just simple documentation. You want to keep track of everything you do so that the judges know that you've done all this amazing stuff. Taking pictures, videos, and CAD photos to also show the judges, give them a visual show, not just saying that you did this. You can actually show them that part. Write down everything that you can because you might forget it later on. And let's say you did this really cool outreach event, but then you forgot everything about it. Writing that down can help you remember it more. And then making sure everyone has access so they can write their part. For if someone wasn't there for some reason, they can look at it and catch up. Numbers are important. Judges love numbers. That gives them a good something to run off of so they have an idea of how your robot performs. Accurate and well-tested data helps the best, especially if we have a consistent metric. So that way the judges can compare everything to each other and know that your testing data is consistent and that it's reliable. And then judges also love spreadsheets and graphs. It's just a visual representation of numbers. Judges love visuals, whether it's photos, CAD photos, spreadsheets, whatever. Judges love photos. It's the best. And then we're on a question break now. So do you portfolio in Google Slides? Yep, we use our portfolio in Google Slides all the time. That's what we use every year. We have a format that we basically reuse over every year. As you can see on the background here, we also have a format for this. Having a format just helps make it a simpler process. And then what part do you want me to re-explain? Yeah, if you don't mind me asking. Yeah. First part after the question break. All right, so the overview. Oh yeah, just what the engineering portfolio is. It's just a quick summary for the judges to know everything that you've done for this season for the robot. Has build parts, has programming parts, has outreach parts, just everything you want the judges to know just in 15 slides or 15 pages.
It's the judge's first impression of you, so it should be a very big focus for you. And then I'll go back to that slide with the pictures.
And then one thing you might be able to answer this one better about is all of our outreach connected.
Yeah. So is all of our outreach STEM related? So, I don't know how to, I'd say to some degree, yes. So we're a robotics team. All of the outreach we do in some way, it's going to have some sort of element of STEM to it just because we're a robotics team. We can't, that's kind of how we advertise ourselves, like I talked about with branding. So we can't like necessarily detach ourselves and be like, we can't do anything without completely detaching ourselves from our brand, which is inherently kind of STEM related. So we do I'd say a lot of our outreach, like our Girl Scouts robotics badge workshop, which we'll talk about later, that's, we're handing out STEM themed badges to Girl Scouts or Girl Guides to maybe call to your country. But we also do some more fun events that aren't necessarily like super robotics related. We have a pancake fundraiser for our whole Loveland robotics community. So yeah, I'd say to some degree it is STEM related, but that's just kind of because we are a robotics team and everything we do is going to have some element of STEM to it. But yeah, for the most part, it is.
Yeah,
So the
I would
goal,
say, Malia, that there are times when you are in events that are not STEM related, the pancake
Yeah.
breakfast or the
Mhm.
farmers market, but what around you guys make the outreach STEM
Yeah.
connected
Yeah.
and first connected, which is a very important part
Yes.
of
I
the
just love to
judging
see
and
Yes.
your overall process.
Yep.
I just love to see bringing more people into the first. That's one of the main reasons that most teams do outreach, is to show that, oh, we brought this many people into first this year. We brought
Yeah.
different countries. We brought different types of people. Any of that. Judges love to see that stuff.
Yeah. Any other questions? Did we do events to put on our portfolio? So yeah, we put our events on our portfolio. We just try to do as many as possible because, that's like kind of a big mission of our team. We want to spread the impact of first as much as possible. We aren't just doing them because we want to just have numbers, big flashy numbers, to look good for the judges. We genuinely care about spreading STEM and first to our community. So we aren't doing the event specifically to just put it on our portfolio and look good. We're doing it to make a genuine impact.
Yeah, to add on to that, every team should set goals for the year.
Yes.
And your goals can be to get more people and get involved in robotics or STEM, or to connect and learn with so many different teams. There's a whole range, kind of depending on where your team is coming from, of what kind of goals you might look at for the year. But those often relate to outreach to help accomplish them.
Any other questions?
I will make a comment. These are some awesome questions, so let's keep
Yeah,
them coming because I
you
think
guys are real good.
you're digging in deep to some of these concepts, which is fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. Keep asking. We'd love to answer them. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to our next section, which is the judged awards. So there is kind of a hierarchy to the order of judging. So obviously, when you think of if you've been in first before, the Inspire Award is kind of the big award. That's the one that everybody wants to win. That's the one that will almost in all cases qualify you for the next level of competition. Then there's the Think Award, the Connect Award, the Innovate Award, the Control Award, the Motivate Award, the Design Award, and then there's the Judges Award and the Compass Award. But in order to understand kind of any of these awards and how they work, and if you want to win them, I'd say the most important thing you need to do is read the rubric before you develop your presentation. So I'm just going to open up this. Can you guys all see that? Okay. Yeah, okay. So this
Okay,
is the
somebody's
judging.
scribbling on the.
Yeah, we can see it. That's good. That means they can see it.
Okay, I don't know if you can
So,
erase those
yeah,
because it's
yeah.
distracting.
Oh, yeah, thank you. So when you give your when you kind of interview with the judges, when you go to a competition, they're going to fill out this feedback form for you, and they'll give you a category: beginning, developed, accomplished, or exemplary on each of the criteria for these awards. As you can see, some of them aren't evaluated in that interview. It's going to be more so in the pits. But I'd say the most important part of this is the criteria. So they're going to tell you what these judges are specifically looking for when they see your presentation, and that's going to help them decide whether they want to nominate you for an award or not. So, for example, we'll just look at the Connect Award. They want you to provide examples of how your outreach engages actively with the engineering community. So when you develop your presentation, you want to make sure that you are somehow including specifically that to kind of tailor towards the judges. And I'll go through that a bit more. And I can send out, I just saw someone, I'll send out this rubric link later with a couple other links that we may have referenced in here. And that Grant just sent it, so thank you. So now to kind of dive into these awards a little more specifically, I'll start off with the Design Award. So the Design Award celebrates the team that demonstrates industrial design principles, striking a balance between form, function, and aesthetics. The design process should result in a robot which is efficiently designed and effectively addresses the game challenge, and a portfolio is not required for this award. So I'd say to summarize all that, that is taken directly from the game manual, but to summarize that, the Design Award is an award for a really good looking robot. So they talked about form, function, and aesthetics. They want robots that are kind of well designed, well thought out, but also look very nice in the end. Some small things that we've done to fit this award, lots of 3D printed and custom parts. Those look really awesome and they can kind of elevate the look of your robot. A consistent design process, just keeping through with it, documenting it, taking inspiration from industrial design. If we do some visits with companies or we talk to someone, taking inspiration from real life things, and then staying away from short-term fixes. This is very important. Band-aid fixes are generally not the greatest thing. So when you're making fixes, you want to kind of keep in mind to design the robot so it can be easily fixed and easily accessible if something's broken. And some more in-depth things we did to do this, or to kind of fit this award, we have a whole design section in our portfolios to detail the kind of our design process and show a lot of data and metrics that show consistency with our design. We CAD every part of our robot so we can show our judges the big CAD robot, and then we can also break that down into smaller pieces to show them individually kind of our process. And then parallel prototyping. So we develop multiple prototypes for the same mechanism at the same time, or so in order to find the best combination of mechanisms that work together both physically and fit the size restrictions. So yeah, that's the Design Award. And then the Motivate Award, some people may think of this as the Outreach Award, but it's definitely more than that. So Motivate Award, again, this is taken straight from kind of the handbook, but embracing the culture first and showing what it is to be a team. They make a collective effort to make first known throughout their social or their school and community and sparking others to embrace first culture. So a portfolio is also not required for this award. So they're just this, traditionally we have thought of this award as spreading first to your community and spreading the kind of culture and ethos of first. So they will also focus on team organizational goals a lot for this one. I'll go into that a little bit later. But here's some events that we've done to fit this category. Our FTC rookie workshops with you guys, virtual and in person, we have done in the past. Community events, kind of spreading first to communities that haven't maybe necessarily seen it before. So we go to our local farmers market, we visit our community library. Yeah, and then we do a youth 3D print. We've done a youth 3D printing workshop in the past, virtual over COVID, kind of exposing some kids to 3D printing that they may have not seen before. And then our Girl Scout workshop, which is also virtual and in person, and just exposing Girl Scouts to first and why it's important. We want to spread the ideals of first to get more younger generations interested in it. So when we grow up, there's more people that want to do it. And then we can also lead younger first teams to be being created, like FLL or FLL Discover and Explore and Challenge. And then those can, if your FTC team mentors them, then they can kind of act as a pipeline to a high school FTC program. And something that we've noticed more kind of specifically this year that's been, at least in Ohio, we're in Ohio, but what we've experienced is the judges are being kind of, they're putting a larger emphasis on one of the specific things in the rubric, which is documenting your team's organizational plan with examples. So they say that you want to have at least one of the 5, but they definitely want to see it all 5 if possible. So what you want to document your finances and budgeting, your team organizational goals. So we talked about kind of team structure, Scrum, all that. Risk management, season timeline planning, so just kind of how you want to split up your time throughout the season, and then our outreach plan, like what's our goals with outreach. So they also want to see the individual contributions of team members. This may be different in your region, and it could always change next year, but this is something that we as a team have personally seen a larger emphasis being placed on in judging. So just make sure you kind of keep note of that. and the Control Award. So this is kind of the programming award. So to read directly from the book, it's a team that uses sensors and software to increase the robot's functionality during gameplay. Innovative thinking and solutions to solve game challenges, autonomous, mechanical systems with intelligent control and other sensors. And it should work consistently during matches. And the portfolio must also contain a summary of the software, sensors, and mechanical control, but it would not include copies of the code itself. This might not be a great example because we do have screenshots of the code itself over here, which is definitely not great. But yeah, it used to be that you would have to submit a separate 1-page or 2-page sheet of everything for this, but now it's included directly in the portfolio, so they're gonna judge off the portfolio and not that sheet. Some small things that we've done to fit this award. We spend 2 to 3 weeks before every competition perfecting our auto and teleop to make sure that it works as consistently as possible. And then we also want to explain and understand our auto paths and create consistent autos. Consistency is key. That's one thing they're going to kind of judge you on for this award. And then some more in-depth things. We use sensors. Sensors are a massive part of this award to improve our road performance. We write our own PIDs, motion profiling, write our own odometry, which kind of helps support the reliability of all these other algorithms. And then we also just use a lot of other complex algorithms to increase our robot performance. And then the Innovate Award. So the Innovate Award, I'm going to read from the book again, but it's going to celebrate a team that thinks imaginatively and has the ingenuity, creativity, and inventiveness to make the robot's designs come to life. This award is given to the team that has an innovative and creative robot design solution to any specific component in the game. Elements of this award include design, robustness, and creative thinking related to a design. This award may address the design of the whole robot or of a mechanism attached to the robot and does not have to work all the time during matches to be considered. So consistency isn't as considered for this award, and it could be one out-of-the-box mechanism or multiple, and it doesn't have to work all the time, like I said. So in kind of layman's terms, this award is all about having a really creative mechanism or innovative mechanism on your robot. Small things that we did to fit this award, again, 3D printed and custom manufactured parts are awesome. Lots of custom and innovative parts. And then we also want to highlight the path to this design in the portfolio. So kind of showing how we came up with it, how we iterated upon it, and what led to where it is today. Big things we did, detailed and diverse brainstorming process. We referenced that earlier, but we have a whole page dedicated to that in our portfolio. We want to take out extra time to try out innovative ideas. In the beginning, no idea is considered too crazy. We want to make sure we consider everything, even the craziest, and because you never know where it may lead to. And then also, they said it's not considered, but it's also always awesome to have your mechanism work all the time. So we want to ensure that it works consistently. Portfolio is not required for this award, too. So the the Connect Award. So that is an award that focuses on connecting with professionals within and outside the STEM field in order to spread first and learn about STEM in the real world. So this kind of event is it's an outreach award, so it focuses on events. So some events that we did to fit this category, we do a lot of facility, factory, and business tours. We listen to presentations from professionals, and sometimes we even give presentations to them. And then we utilize company resources to improve our robot, so we can have companies cut some custom parts for us, 3D print some things, or just kind of use their tools that we may not have access to in order to help us. And it's super important. It teaches professionals about FIRST, which can obviously lead to scholarships and mentorships, which is pretty awesome. And then sponsorship, that's financial support for the robot team, competition fees, all that. It can also be physical. We can get software licenses and building materials. We have a guy that comes in and gives a bunch of plastic samples all the time. It's pretty awesome. And then mentorship, having someone come in, just kind of be able to talk to you, mentor you, kind of guide you throughout this whole process. Super awesome, super valuable, would recommend. And then, like the Motivate Award, there's also some specific things we've noticed that have been kind of more emphasized in judging and in questions for us. So, per the rubric, it seems like they are placing a larger emphasis in our region on how these connections improve team member skills. So they want you to describe, display, or document plans to develop team member skills through these outreach events and the steps that the team has taken to reach these goals. So like I said, focus on how these connections impact your team member skills, show how it actively engages with the engineering community, and make sure you know how you develop these connections. Think award, we're almost there. So the team shows their engineering journey throughout the season and documents it in the engineering notebook or portfolio. And there's a large emphasis on overcoming problems and learning it along the way. So things to include timeline of robot development, iterations and learnings throughout the process, and testing data. So Think kind of just wants to see your journey as a team, more specifically about the robot throughout the season. So you want to see a complete documentation of all your accomplishments and struggles. Can't there's never it's never all positive. You want to show your struggles and how you bounce back from them, and you want to see, you want to highlight the team's overall ability to adapt and work together, and then documentation that helps the team stay more organized and helps it unify the team. So you want to focus kind of on project management, Scrum, like we talked about earlier, all that. And then lastly, the big dog, the Inspire Award. So teams are well-rounded and consistent in all of their awards and criteria and represent the ideal values of FIRST and core values. So that's gracious professionalism, cooperation, all that. Teams fully embody the ideals of FIRST, and then students focus on multiple areas of STEM. So just try to do everything that we talked about, be well-rounded. You can be good build, good programming, good business, all that. And it's never, you can't design your presentation and your portfolio to be around the Inspire Award. You just kind of want to keep it in the back of your mind to be as well-rounded as possible to give you the best chance of being nominated for the Inspire Award. Focus on all the other awards first, and then Inspire is just kind of, if you're really good, then that's when that starts to come into play. And then questions. It looks like we have quite a few in the chat
I'm
here.
gonna start from the
Yeah,
top.
there's a
Yeah.
lot. Do you want to start at the top, Grant, or do you want me to kind of
Yeah, Grant,
I've
you
been
go.
I
following
know where
along.
the first
All
one
right,
was,
let's
and
start
I'm
there
just
then.
gonna work my way down from there.
First one was strategy.
Yeah, how does your team set your strategy for these past years and for the upcoming season? So what we do is at the beginning of the year, the day the game manual comes or the day the game comes out, we go to the basement of our school and we sit there for about like 8 hours that day, and we just talk about strategies, what's our plan, what would be the best outcome, everything. We talked about having this big list of mechanisms or everything that would work. We go through that list, we systematically remove them through a specific rubric, and then from there we just assign it to our team members when we get into our first stage of prototyping.
To add to that, you're kind of analyzing the tasks of the game for
Yeah.
kind
So
of
we're analyzing
difficulty versus reward. Go ahead.
Yeah. Next one, how do you handle conflicts to the team and overcome some challenges? So the way we do that is whenever we have someone that's having a problem in the team, let's say they have a mechanism that's not working out, let's take a step back. We bring some more people in, some more eyes, more ideas. And with that, we talk about the problem, what's causing the problem, everything about the problem, ways to solve it, and then how we would go about and solve it from there. So it's kind of like how we make our same strategy for the start of the season. That's how we start and overcome our conflicts that we have through the year. Is judging set up like a presentation or an interview with Q&A? Judging is set up just like a presentation, and then afterwards, the judges will ask you questions about it, about anything that they felt that wasn't specified enough, or just some random questions that they had and they were curious about.
So to add a little bit more into that one, the initial presentation is 5 minutes. The total presentation is 15, so 5 minutes of the team and then 10 minutes of judge Q&A. And there's might touch some of the other questions that were going on later, and that is you are getting asked questions that cover all of the categories that Malia just went through. And the judges are trying to get as much information about you across all of those through that 15 minutes. And then if maybe you guys can describe a little bit more about then how do you get to the pit interviews? And online is only like a COVID or if there's a remote kind of thing, which is kind of seems to have dropped off a lot, but it maybe in your region it's still active, but maybe somebody can talk about the pits.
It may depend for online on the structure of the competition. I know there have been different ones this year in different regions that have handled it differently. Our state competition was online presentations and initial Q&A. I know of one, we did a premiere event, and then we had to just submit our 5-minute video ahead of time. And I know of one that did all judging in pits because of limitations of their space and things. So you'll get that information from whoever's running the tournament ahead of time of what that format will be. Most of the time it's in person with 5-minute presentation, 10-minute Q&A.
Yep. Next
Grant or
question.
Malia, do you want to talk about the pits and how do
Oh,
you judges decide to come talk to you?
So, the way that I've seen it happening is that after you finish your presentation in the room, the judges will already have a list of what awards they think that you're going for or that you have the best chance of reaching. And then from those awards, I think they'll pick about 2 or 3 of the best ones. And with there, the judges that are like the experts in those awards will come down into the pits around lunchtime-ish, come around, they'll walk around. They have a whole list of teams they want to ask questions about and everything. And they'll just come down, ask you a few questions, and then they'll go on to the next team and do that until they have everyone on the list checked off. And then they can go back and deliberate more about who would be the best qualified to win those awards. All right, ready for the next one? All right. Did your
Questions?
team use methods to measure progress through the season in the past? We've used methods to measure our progress that depends on which section you want to talk about. For an example, I'm just going to give you how we measure it through the build. At the start of the year, we have a number we want to put up for how many points we want to get, and we'll call it our cycle time is how many points we want to get per cycle. With that number, we can base all of our future goals off of that number to try to reach it, and that's what we work towards. And then once we achieve that one, we just place another one upon there, and that's kind of how we measure our progress through the season through our robot part. Is we just set a new goal and we go until we reach it.
Yeah. And one other add-on about judging, I just want to say the judges want you to succeed. The reason they're asking questions is because they want to get as much information out of you as possible that gives them kind of the information to be able to nominate you for an award. So this is like your chance to show off, be proud of everything you've done. They may ask technical questions, give them as technical of an answer as you can. They want you to see you succeed and they want to see you win an award. So yeah.
They're kind of like your salesperson to try to pitch you to be the
Yeah.
best award.
Yeah.
And then next one, or are you still on that?
I can take the rookie team outreach. So what is the best way for a rookie team to get started with outreach?
One thought here would be look for opportunities within your school or your local community that you might be able to be out there and showcase what you're doing. But it might be a little tough when you haven't really built a robot quite yet early in the season. And so another option would be look to see if there's an experienced team in your local area, and reach out to them, asking if maybe you guys can pair up on something and start to learn the ropes and be able to build your outreach. It is difficult for a rookie team to get started with that. But you can learn a few things and then get prepared for the following year. If you came from an FLL, you may already have some of that experience, maybe not. And other things like maybe Malia, you can address is attending this. Would you go ahead, say more about what a rookie team should talk in the judging room about attending this series of webinars?
Yeah, this is outreach. So you connecting with such a large and diverse community of people in FIRST. So this is definitely something you should be able to talk about, kind of brag about that you were able to attend this.
And this would be part of Connect, correct, for the teams attending?
Would that not be considered? Or Connect. Yeah, because we're focusing on Connect. Because we're focusing on building the skills of team members. So yeah, Connect. And then also another thing I'd say is just people talk about cold emailing, cold calling a lot. Just emailing, reaching out to local companies that may do something STEM related. Like for us, P&G is really big near here. Just emailing there, seeing if you could get maybe someone to come in and you can just talk to them. They can talk to you, kind of get to know you, build a connection, go and tour the facility maybe even. Just reaching out to some different STEM professionals is also a really nice way to get started. And people in STEM professions love to see FIRST. Like they will be very excited to have you.
I will also say, on the flip side of that, of teaching and mentoring younger kids, if you have any
Yes.
connections with FLL teams, if any of your team members did that before, or other younger kids doing STEM programs, going and presenting at that or volunteering and helping with that is a great kind of outreach that's easy to get started in as well.
Yeah.
All right, ready for our next one?
Yep.
Do we have a budget? And if so, how do you determine the budget? So,
So, yeah.
go ahead.
You go ahead.
All right, with our budgeting, every year we get basically a school allowance for that year, how much we're allowed to spend off the school budget. They give us, I don't know the exact
Mm,
number it is right now.
We don't
almost.
get money from our
Almost.
We don't get money from the school.
Oh, well, they get it through the program, and the program goes through. Same thing.
So the team goes through and they get sponsors, and I think we're going to talk about that here in a little bit.
Yeah.
And from the sponsor money, we actually have two teams, two FTC teams. We're one of two at our high school. The mentors get together and determine how are we going to budget and put together a budget with the team leads. And that
Yeah.
then becomes our overall structure of the dollars that we get to spend. And then the mentors work with we're kind of like the purchasing agents. So the teams, the build leads, and the programming leads and others who want to buy things or spend money on things, whether it be outreach or equipment or whatever it happens to be, we'll put the proposal together, so to speak, review it with the mentors who then give the thumbs up and actually order the equipment or order whatever it happens to be. So the budget is often determined by how much sponsorship money that we get and where we want to distribute it. Do we want to save money back for entry fees to tournaments, plan to go to Worlds, or do we want to spend it and then just if we make it to Worlds that we go do additional outreach and fundraising or something like that. So it's all a choice in that way. So hopefully that answers that question.
I will say that our budget is going to be different because we're an experienced team than rookie teams. Rookie teams have a lot more startup costs, and I know First has some worksheets and resources on their site around how to kind of plan for that, as well as some resources for rookie grants. So, you can kind of get an idea overall, like how much are you looking at spending it for just to get started from some resources on their site. And I'll see if I can find it and share it in the link in the chat for that. But we do try to basically cover our budget through fundraisers and sponsorships.
Yeah. And then Alex, did you want to take this one about encoder?
Yeah, so we actually use encoders for auto. We have this algorithm called odometry, which can take those encoder counts and turn them into X and Y and also a rotation value on the field in millimeters. So we can just have our robot move to an exact position based on a real distance. And this is better than time because it can help prevent deviations. Like if your battery voltage is low, then you're going to need more time to run to a specific position, and you might also go off track if you have any encoder or motor drift. There's some open source stuff that you can use like Pedro Pathing and Roadrunner, which can help you ease that process.
Yeah. And then does our team perform any type of community service? So,
I think a lot of our outreach could be called community service.
yeah,
We're
that's
not,
what I was gonna say.
yeah. We're
If you
not
think of
building
community,
a wheelchair for somebody, but
yeah,
we are doing a lot.
And it varies year to year. During COVID times, we certainly did a lot more of things that were more pure outreach focused, and it just kind of, will change year to year. We've done food drives and um, different things like that over the years, but it certainly can be a part of your outreach for first. I would just also say make sure you're also doing some STEM outreach as well.
yeah.
All
And
right,
then,
so we got
yeah,
what ratio do we use on motors and what type of servos. For motors, it obviously depends on the application. I'm just gonna go over our drive chain real quick. We use a 2 to 3 gear ratio. 435 RPM motors. So that gives us a nice balance of speed and reliability with those. And then the servos that we use, if you have the budget for them, we use Axon Max servos. Those have a really quick response time and they're normally really strong. That's what we like to use often throughout the season.
Yeah.
Next up, how do we
Go
measure?
Builder is a very good. We use a lot of Go Builder equipment too, right, Grant?
Yeah, we use a lot of their motors. We outsource different servos, but they also have a lot of good building blocks to build off of. A lot of the parts are very modular and work with each other very well.
Yeah.
How do we
And
measure effectiveness with team goals for the robot performance? I think we already did that one.
yeah. And
The
then
seven goals.
what criteria or process did you use to determine success for your team? I wouldn't say we set goals in the start of the season just kind of for ourselves as a team. It can be something as simple as, like I want to learn how to CAD or something like that. There aren't usually specific criteria that we're looking to meet, like specific deliverables or numbers. We're not saying like we want to score X amount of points or something. We're just aiming to be the best we can be without like a specific number in mind. And then,
Or answer this one, I think, as well.
yeah, I can
Did you
take
pick
this
which awards
one.
we interviewed for? Yeah. Basically, judges figure out which ones you're best eligible for out of the one presentation and the portfolio.
Yeah, yeah. Number the pre-programming
Programming
library.
libraries. Alex knows these better than I do.
So
Yeah,
I
he already
already
got the
answered this
answer.
question, but for anybody on the YouTube video, the question asked what pre-programmed libraries or outside resources do you use to program your robot? So we program our robot using Android Studio and Kotlin. We're gonna have a whole workshop on that coming up soon in
Yes.
August. And then the answer I gave was for the premiere event we did this season, we switched to use PageRow. Before that, the only library that we used was Easy OpenCV. We developed some libraries that anyone can use, which is why we don't use many others, but that will be covered more in the programming workshop later.
Yeah. And then, which awards qualify you for the next level of competition? So typically, when you think of going to the next level of competition, the award you'd think of is the Inspire Award. Usually though, if you attend multiple qualifier events, some teams may uh kind of win the robot game or they've already won the Inspire Award. They've already qualified for the next level of tournament. So it'll start going down farther on that advancement list. So that's kind of why we have that list in place. So it was the Think Award, then the Connect Award. So let's say somebody already won the Inspire Award at a previous tournament, but they just won the tournament, so they double qualified. They would actually they would pass that down to the next person on like the list. So in that case, it'd be the Inspire second award, the second place Inspire award. That person would end up qualifying. Um, it can we've seen it go down as far they go down different places and stuff, but we've seen it go as far down as like the Control Award to which people qualify. So there is never, you typically think of the Inspire Award, but you never really know what to expect when it starts to get to these later season competitions. Oh, you'd be surprised at what awards will end up advancing. And then Edwin,
It's basically
uh,
how do you team get over public speaking and nerves.
yeah. Well, first, congrats on making it to state on like in like your rookie years. That's awesome. I'd say one of the biggest things for us is just repeated practice, hammering it in like crazy. So we start in September, and basically as soon as competition starts to roll around, like one of our first competition, like mid-December-ish, we start dedicating at least like 45 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes to just practicing our presentation and practicing answering questions. So I think someone sent it already earlier. It was a link to a list of questions that judges may ask. We have our mentors sit down in front of us and they'll ask us questions, give us some feedback on how we did, and just hammering that in as much as possible is kind of what we found has helped our team members the best.
We've
It's just
often
practice.
run teams to if your team really struggles with public speaking, make it a regular exercise at every meeting, of just have a
Yes.
bunch of slips of paper in a jar and you pick out a topic and make everybody give a 1 minute speech about it,
Yeah.
just so they get used to talking in front of a group and, just kind of then it makes it easier when you are doing the questions. They realize they know what they're talking about and can answer the questions, but just kind of practice, practice, practice.
Yes. And then do we do
Angel.
most of the outreach during the season or most during the off season? We are doing outreach very consistently through the entire year. There's not like a point where we stop necessarily. It is just we are always it's we are doing outreach consistently through the entire year. And then
CAD software, is that the next one?
yeah,
All right, we use SolidWorks. We get a sponsorship from them basically every year. We renew our sponsorship with them. It's really easy to get a sponsorship from them. You just go on the website. They have a separate link. You can just fill out a form, and within I got mine in 2 days for this year. You can get as many sponsorships or as many different licenses as you want.
yeah. Super
Uh,
awesome.
go ahead.
Judges love to see it.
Yeah,
And industry
standardized
level.
the workforce. Everyone uses SolidWorks, so they always
Yeah.
let people see in industry standards.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, how do we build a culture throughout our team? We spend a lot of time in the room
Yeah.
with each other, so it comes through the amount of time we spend in the room. If you want to spend more of a culture with your room, you can always set up events outside of it, like just setting up. We oftentimes just go out for ice cream after or after some practices and just eat that and relax there. That's one way that we bond with each other. There's just many ways, basically just doing events with each other.
Yeah. Game nights are always a popular one. Jackbox, if you've ever heard of that. Yeah. And then odometry. Alex, I don't know, have you that presentation? Are we going to be covering odometry in the Kotlin presentation? Oh no, you already
That's
answered
out of the
that.
scope. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, we will not be covering that, but if you have any questions, you can email us and we'd be happy to help you or set up like a Zoom meeting and help you there. And then budget, I believe we already covered that.
For 35, yeah, we're using Mechanism wheels as well.
And
Just
then
normal go build a Mechanism wheels is what we like to use. Those are probably the best.
yeah.
But I think you're planning on using the bumpy ones, which have
Not
a
right
little
now.
more
If the
griff.
game changes, maybe. I don't see much for purpose yet. We'll have to do some testing with that first.
Yeah. One of the
Yeah.
primary things I've heard from other teams relative to the bumps, it's more of a grippy, so it becomes a little more difficult to push you. On the flip side, if you're more difficult to push, then it takes more. It's more difficult, more energy to move. So there's pros and cons.
Yeah.
But I've heard a number of teams that have moved to the ones with the bumps on them, and they really like them.
There's a good chance we'll be switching soon, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Not yet. We haven't. We haven't looked into it yet.
All right. Looks
All right,
like
back to
we've had a
presentation.
bit of a lull in our questions. So do you want to go ahead and move on to the next section? You guys have been asking great questions, by the way. Love to see it. All right.
All right, ready to go on now? All good?
Yeah.
All right, next up we've got just general outreach information, just some general ideas about what counts as outreach. So business outreach, it's very similar or basically the same thing. We like to call it our team is business, but they focus on outreach. It's basically everything that you have to do with everything outside of the robot. So whether you're documenting stuff that considers outreach, finding a ton, contacting sponsors, anything that connects with more people or anything is considered outreach. So the business workload is just like we said before, shared by the whole team. It's not one specific sub team. All team members are expected and should help out with the outreach documentation, whether that's writing down what happened at an event, so they remember it, taking photos, anything like that. All team members are expected to be participating in that. Yep, sub teams are responsible for documenting of their work. That's just basically documentation, so the judges know everything that you've done. And then everyone should participate in outreach events. So this shows you judges that everyone's involved. It's not just two specific people that care, and it's everyone that cares about the community. So when it comes to documenting outreach, you always want to have the date and name of your event, so that way the judges know what event you actually participated in, not saying, "Oh yeah, we did some events." They know that you were there. Include numbers. Once again, judges love numbers. They love seeing a reference of how many people you made an impact to. And then talking about the impact is what you focused on in there and how you try to change your community or influence them. Thorough and detailed when you come to your portfolio, you want the judges to know what type of outreach activities you did, and not just you did the same one over and over again, but you reached a variety of different people. And then including pictures, including context, that's just so the judges know or they can see examples that you've been there as well. We had a question. I think it was answered. Do all outreach activities have to be free, or can some have a free of charge? Most of the ones we don't do. Most ones we do, I believe, are free.
Yeah.
There are some. There was one that we did in the Air Force Museum that you had to get in the museum, but I think all the ones we do are free. I think Malia knows more about that.
Girl Scout. So our one of our biggest outreach events is our Girl Scout Robotics Badge program. We do charge a small fee for that. That just helps kind of pay for some of the costs that come with hosting the event, and then the excess money can go towards our team if need be. And yeah. Any other questions for now? Awesome. Okay.
Okay, so in first, there are three main different types of outreach: community, professional, and first. Community outreach is what it sounds like. It's just reaching out to groups in your community. And community outreach is like reaching out to school, your local community, small groups within your community. And you can either develop your own events or you can look for opportunities to join an existing one, like Science Day or open houses at your school, or for festivals or farmers markets like we do. So when you host events, you're going to want to have a goal, and this is usually to teach or share something with someone. And um, so some stuff we do is STEM and business skills like CAD, programming, and marketing. And then there's also some other activities that we do, like programming NXT robots. And the people that you teach can vary widely. It can be young people, it can be people in your community, and just anybody that you want to outreach to. So planning is very important for hosting your own outreach event. You're going to want to know who your audience is. If you have a group of second graders, they're going to be doing something way different than a group of sixth graders would be able to do. And you should have an idea of how many people will attend and choose an appropriate location based off that and bring the amount of resources based on that amount of people. And you should always have extras in case something happens. So some stuff we do is our fifth and sixth grade science day. We send a team there with robots that people will be able to drive around. And then we also have different activities to keep kids engaged. We also do our elementary school science day, which is roughly the same thing. And same with our school showcase night. And then we also do farmers market events, which we bring robots that people can drive around if they want to. So if you want to develop your own Girl Scout slash Bird Guide event, you should research the badge requirements so you can develop a good agenda for what you need. And you need to make sure that you have the space to host it. So you can maybe do this at your school. If you can't go there, then you can find somewhere else to do it. And advertising is also an important part of it, so you can get people that will come to the event. You can use the Girl Scout Council, Facebook groups, Instagram, etc. And then a sample agenda, like one that we do at our events, is we split people up. Programming, we have people program Lego robots and then they follow a path that we make on the ground. And then there's also designing robots, where people can, or Girl Scouts can design their robots, like using paper, any materials that we have. And then after they're done designing it, they can showcase their robots. And if there's any questions, you can put them in the chat or unmute.
Doesn't look like we have any, so we can go ahead and move on.
All right, and then so next we professional outreach. This is a different type of outreach. This is more focused towards older people. This will also help you get some sponsors sometimes with your professional outreach. It's just reaching out with professionals and people who have experience in the engineering field and getting feedback and advice or sometimes supplies from them. So overview, how to find people to connect with. Mentor and parent connections is a great way. So if you have a parent that works at a company or some of your mentors that work at a company that are willing to come down and talk to other teams, that'd be great to figure out and set up an example. Great way to getting outreach there is to getting professionals in from mentors. That's easy contacts. Contacting local businesses, excuse me, local businesses. That's also tech companies would be grateful as well, so you can get advice from them, but also just any local businesses in general for management skills as well. It doesn't have to be about the robot entirely. It can be about a variety of different skills. And then company opportunities or like first teams that are also doing other outreach is another good way is looking at a company that says, oh yeah, we also work with or we sponsor these first teams. That's another way to good professional outreach is like sending an email to them or signing up for the program as well. Like we said, we do a SolidWorks sponsorship. So it's kind of like an outreach with them. So we can put that we partnered or we're sponsored by SolidWorks. We can put that on our banner, and that's another way you can get your outreaches. And then there's some different areas of expertise as well. You're good. We'll go on the next one. Planning is so you want to know the company that you're looking at. You just don't want to pick any random company. You want to say, okay, we picked this company because of we believe their skills would be beneficial to us. And then you want to plan objectives with them, like we've done factory tours at R.I. Jones and many other plants as well. And you always want to present something to them. You don't just want to like a random like walkthrough or a video. You want to show up there and actually be there in person to learn in person instead of online just through email or something. And some examples, you can present something to them. You can educate them about first. You can ask them to what the company does, and like sometimes you can get a plant tour out of them. And this is another way to go practice your presentation skills or to get over that nervous is just getting more time to talk with people. You can also present your robot to them or present your portfolio, whatever. It's just getting a deeper connection with them so they know what first is and you know what they're doing. And then you can also get your professional feedback. Sometimes you can set up a design review with companies so they can look at your robot and say, that's a good idea, but why don't you try doing something like this? That's another good way you can improve your robot throughout the year while also getting outreach. Marketing strategy feedback, that's just how to manage your budget better and to find better alternatives to stuff that you might think is expensive. And then feedback on a team's presentation. This gives you more time to practice your presentations, but it also helps you refine your presentations as well with the feedback on them. These people have plenty of experience with that kind of stuff. They're worth it every day and they're great for that. And then even more examples, touring their workspaces, like we said, you can get a facility tour. Sometimes college campuses can give you sponsors, or sometimes we've invited some company professionals to our meetings just to show them what we do, what the robot is, what space we work with, and they can have an understanding of what our team does. And then sometimes you can bring them into mentorship as well, where they come in and they help you develop your engineering and programming skills. And they just come with your team throughout the year to check in with you guys and give you more advice. All right, then we got any questions?
All right, doesn't look like we have any, so first outreach.
So first outreach means a lot to the FIRST community and is a major part of what makes FIRST FIRST. Interacting with other teams and levels of FIRST is something that you should always be doing. There are many different types of FIRST outreach that you can do. The simplest form of FIRST outreach is talking and interacting with other FTC teams, whether it's at events or on Discord servers. And if you want to go a step beyond that, you can start an FLL team. You can also make materials to share with other teams or even host events for the FIRST community, such as kickoff, scrimmage, or a workshop like this one, which can expose your team and anything that you've learned to others and expand your network. Forming a network of teams that you can talk to and ask for help is an important part of FTC. If you're struggling with something such as build, another team has probably faced the same issue as you and can provide guidance on how to get through it. Information in FTC is available everywhere, such as the Discord and other events such as this one. How you design your pits is important too. Pit space helps judges and other teams see your brand and can show the ideas of your team off. We use pit boards and they should be used to show your journey throughout the season. Your pit boards can include your build process and ideas, cool things you programmed, such as your auto, and any outreach events that you hosted. The pit space is an area to connect with other teams and demonstrate your expertise to the judges. A few examples of outreach, including includes hosting scrimmages, building a social media presence, whether this is on Discord or something else, and asking or answering questions, and also hosting or attending a workshop like this. If there's any questions, you can send them in the chat.
I believe this is the last question to break before I get to our last section. You can always ask questions at the end, but this is our last one if you want to do it mid-presentation.
Yeah, I just shared a link to the FTC Discord there.
If you have any more questions, you can always go in there and ask them. It's a great community. They always help out.
Yeah. Yeah,
And if
very
anybody who's
helpful.
on these calls or these series of webinars have questions throughout the season, you guys know how to get in touch with us, I hope, right, Malia?
Yeah, we'll show it at the end.
And always willing to offer our experiences.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Looks like we don't have any other questions, so I'll go ahead and move into our last segment of the day. So, sponsorship. So we kind of like to divide sponsorship into three main categories. So first I'll talk about material sponsorship. So this is material goods or services that companies may provide. So materials can be for the robot or for the team. So CAD software that we get that from SolidWorks, like Grant had mentioned. It's sponsorship, but it's because they give us that software for free. Super awesome, industry level software. A lot of great experience for our team members. Manufacturing custom parts, we can get 3D printed metal, custom cut, laser jet, water jet sort of things that we would not have access to at our very normal high school. Donating parts, donating old things that people may not need from their company but may be of use to us, and then providing resources for community outreach. Monetary sponsorship may be what you think of traditionally when you think of sponsorship. So it can be super vital to having the resources to build your robot. I know that it's super important for a lot of teams, especially rookie teams. So companies can offer monetary sponsorship in a lot of different ways. Grant programs, direct donation, matching funds, or assistance in covering team expenses, like if you need to enter a tournament or something and you don't have the funds to do that. And intellectual sponsorship. So companies sharing professional expertise, they can give you feedback on the team and the robot. Not just robot feedback, you can get a lot of marketing feedback, learn how to market yourself effectively. That's someone we actually had to come in and help us with. And then professionals can also help us work with design constraints. We do design reviews with professionals who we show them our robot. They've got a lot of industry experience, so they can kind of give us some suggestions on how to improve in a way that we may not have thought of before. And then how to find sponsorships. The main way that we see sponsorships come through, mentor and parent connections. So if you have a parent that works at a company, they know a guy who knows a guy who may be involved in the industry, that is a fantastic way to get started with your sponsorships. Just reach out, shoot them an email. There's nothing wrong with just trying. Connecting with local businesses, especially tech companies, like I mentioned, like we said, P&G for us, getting a tour of them, getting so we can get like some intellectual sort of sponsorship, have them maybe come in or just kind of guide us. And then looking for grant programs and nonprofits. There are quite a few out there meant to help first teams with costs. So I definitely recommend looking into those. And then questions. I feel like I covered that a bit fast, so let me know.
Just an add-on to your nonprofits there. One of our biggest sponsors is our local American Legion chapter. We've also had sponsorships from like the Eagles and other fraternal organizations like that. A lot of them are very focused on helping in their community, so that's a great resource to reach out to for potential sponsorships in your community.
Yeah, tech companies may not know about FIRST, but when they see that, in our experience, they absolutely love when they see kids in FIRST. They will be very happy to have you sponsor you even potentially, or just kind of show you around. It's like I think it's kind of like they wish they could have that experience as a kid. So getting to talk to you and you getting to talk to them is like pretty awesome for them. They're always very enthusiastic about it. Looks like we don't have many other questions. I'll hang out just for a minute, just in case there's any last minute ones. But thank you all so much for coming to this. Please, 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 please feel free to contact us after these workshops with any questions you come across during your season. We'd love to help you. We can even set up a Zoom call with you if that's needed. Anything that you may have questions about, we'd be happy to help with. And you can follow us on social media. Our Twitter is pretty inactive, but Instagram is there. And then, as always, our email, which you received that link from, so you should be able to email us pretty quickly. And then, just a reminder, we do have those last two upcoming workshops. So, July 23rd, manufacturing custom FTC parts, important to what I talked about, like the Design and Innovate and Think Award. And then, August 6th, FTC programming in Kotlin, super important. Awesome for beginners especially, so I'd highly recommend coming to both of those. Thank you guys again so much for coming. You can register for our other workshops through that link that you signed up for.
Actually, anybody that registered for one, we send the link for all of them. So we can stay registered for everything.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll send you out that link.